It's been revealed.
I'm finishing, Piers.
Today,
Piers, I'm trying to
wait
explain.
a minute.
I'm trying to explain, Piers.
You talked about safety. Literally today, the Algerian gold medal winner in the Paris Olympics women's boxing has been revealed to be a man who should never have been competing.
Piers, can I speak?
That's
Piers,
why.
You know how people feel when they're on your panels and you mute them.
Can I speak without
In this video, Andrew Wilson and liberal soy boy Parker something join the panel on Piers Morgan Uncensored. Andrew Wilson and the low testosterone panel discuss trans issues. With that, let's watch Andrew Wilson wreck a liberal fruit over the dumbest issue ever.
And protect trans people, then the absolute worst way to go about that is the way that the trans lobby has tried to do it, by eroding women's rights in things like women's sport. That has exposed so many trans people to mockery, abuse, and the rest of it. And I would say that rather than spending all this time and effort and money on flags in Pride Month, what about just actually getting people together to understand that eroding women's rights is the worst possible thing to promote trans rights? Would you accept that?
Okay, so then if we were going to be talking about eroding women's rights, we'd have to talk about people that, you know, someone like Andrew Wilson supports, like Donald Trump, who was held civilly liable of sexually abusing women, who bragged about
hang on, let's stick to my question. Don't bring Trump into it.
I promise you I'm making a point relative to this.
Right.
He bragged about walking
bad. Smoky man bad. Smoky man bad.
You're very childish. He bragged about walking
all you can do is focus on me. You can't even answer to his question, dude. He's just.
I'm promising I'm answering right now. You're cutting me off.
But Smoky man bad.
You're cutting me off. I'm trying to answer it right now. Respectfully, I'm trying to answer it right now, but you're not allowing me to.
Okay, well, answer without distracting into Trump and stuff. Just answer the question.
Well, I'm giving an explanation, right? So he bragged about walking into the changing rooms of girls in Miss TNSA because he quote unquote owns the place to inspect them without
forget Trump. Forget Trump.
I promise you, I'm making a point here. Would you let me?
You have to get to the point a bit quicker. Come on.
I promise you I am. I've had 15 seconds. Okay, so specifically, right, people like Andrew Wilson do not call that type of stuff out when it's explicitly harmful towards women's rights.
You're playing whataboutery. I'm more interested in whataboutery. Because I haven't done that. So as somebody like me, talk to me, Parker, talk to me, right? As somebody who has always supported...
I was going to refer to trans
someone
people,
who's always supported trans rights, trans people's rights to... Well, I have always supported trans people's rights to fairness, equality, and safety. Right to the point that it began to erode into women's rights to the same thing. And that's my point to you. Why waste all this time, effort, and money on virtue signaling for Pride Month when, in fact, there's a real problem going on which remains unresolved because too many people on the left and too many young people go along with this absolute farce of trans athletes in women's sport, which exposes trans people around the world to extra mockery and abuse.
But you'll condemn the mockery and abuse from people like Jay Dyer, and these are the mockers.
Is that homonym?
You condemn that.
Well, I'm saying you're going to get the mockery when there is something so obviously grotesquely unfair.
Can I respond?
Parker, you got your hand up very politely, so answer me without mentioning Donald Trump or Andrew Wilson.
Yeah, okay. So I can't mention the person on the panel, but specifically in terms of trans people are not specifically going to be harmful towards women in these particular spaces, given that they've met the conditions of multiple years of HRT.
Have you been sorry, hang on.
It's amazing what a weak pool of candidates that the Democrats or the left have to choose from to put support behind, whether it's politicians or political commentators. I mean, I can't imagine this guy came to his ideological beliefs 16 years old or however he is. I have to believe he had some kind of online presence, and maybe during the election before, whatever, someone guided him in this direction, because listen to his argument here. It just sucks. People like this guy annoy me, but I stop myself from being annoyed and say, I guess I should be grateful. I mean, this is the best the left can do, is bring an idiot like this on here. And idiots like this guy can't even concede the simple point that trans people want rights at the expense of other people or other groups of people, specifically women. So there are plenty of cases where a man goes into a women's space, bathroom, locker room, and assaults them. There are those cases out there that can't be denied. Second of all, maybe it's a little bit uncomfortable to women to see a dong flopping around in a dressing room. I'm a male, and that's gross to me. I don't want to see that. So they're hurting women. They're making them uncomfortable in the most private of places. They're taking awards away from them in sports. Why can't you just acknowledge that this trans lobby has gone way too far? Because their agenda only succeeds if another group's rights are eroded or made to feel less safe. That's just a fact, man. Why do you need to argue with this? Why do you need to argue it? Why can't you at least concede part of it and try to have a real good faith answer? I mean, this idiot said something about this is disingenuous. What is? You not answering the question? Shut up. He has to bring up Andrew. He has to bring up Donald Trump. This kid is not good at this. But I guess this is encouraging for any aspiring YouTubers out there. I mean, I guess if you just put yourself out there on YouTube, you'll have some level of success regardless of your talent level. This guy is the perfect evidence of that. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Hang on.
Please let me finish.
Parker, you can't make it.
Parker,
literally, as you've said this, today it's been revealed.
I'm finishing, Piers.
Today,
Piers, I'm trying to
wait
explain.
a minute.
I'm trying to explain, Piers.
You talked about safety. Literally today, the Algerian gold medal winner in the Paris Olympics women's boxing has been revealed to be a man who should never have been competing.
Piers, can I speak?
That's
why. You know how people feel when they're on your panels and you mute them.
Can I speak without interruption, please?
All right, answer.
I've been incredibly nice on this panel. I would love to be able to speak without interruption. Is that okay, Piers?
Yes, but answer my question.
Yeah, I was trying to answer the question. You cut me off. So specifically, I don't think trans people in these spaces would be harmful after multiple years of HRT and or not going through a male puberty, as I've seen no good evidence from any scientific studies that indicate that there would be an unfair biological advantage at that point.
What are you talking about, man?
Listen. I'm still explaining.
Parker, you're talking complete gibberish,
man.
Can
I please finish?
Imam Khalif has literally just been exposed as a biological male who won Olympic gold in women's boxing and beat up an Italian boxer woman so badly she quit in 43 seconds and said she thought she was going to die in the ring. So the whole argument you just put forward is literally disproved by a news story today. That's the point I was making to you. Of course it's dangerous. When you allow biological men to get in a boxing ring and beat up women, it is dangerous.
Piers, has that person been through multiple years of HRT?
I don't know. I don't care.
Then they haven't met my set of criteria. So how is that a critique of my worldview if they haven't met the set of criteria that I mentioned? Can I please finish? Can I please mention? Can I please mention? Right. So again, let me please finish. Right. I am saying if they meet this set of criteria, then they can play. And there's nothing unfair biologically speaking that you can identify.
This is where you're so
deluded.
You're so deluded because even if you have all the treatment, you still retain the body mass, the muscle mass, the lung capacity. You retain all the biological advantages of being born a man.
Not after multiple years of HRT. Not after multiple years of HRT.
Yes, you do.
Wait, do you want to bet, Piers? Piers, put money on it. You said you retain every biological advantage.
Muscle mass,
that you have gone through multiple years of HRT.
Capacity.
You don't think muscle mass?
You want to bet your entire savings of your entire life that I'm right and you're wrong?
Piers, let's bet $1,000 right now that there are lower biological advantages that would specifically exist, given that someone goes through multiple years of HRT, right, relative to estrogen.
No, you're missing my point.
Take that bet.
No, you're missing my point.
Are you going to accept the bet? Yes or no?
You can have all the HRT treatment you like.
Piers.
You can have all the testosterone. But hang on.
He's not going to accept it.
Let me answer. I'll tell you the bet I'll make. If you want to bet the $1,000, that if you go through testosterone reduction treatment and the rest of it, that you come out of it with a reduced muscle mass or lung capacity.
If you like watching videos like this one, like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Let's get back to the video.
Or the other things that give men an advantage. Take that bet for me.
Yeah. So I will bet after multiple years of HRT, specifically relating to estrogen, right, there is a reduction in muscle mass. You want to take that bet, Piers?
No, it's bullshit. Andrew Wilson.
Okay, let's take that bet. You want to take it, yes or no?
Andrew Wilson.
Yes or no? Do you want to take the bet?
I'm letting Andrew respond to you.
Yeah. So when you're talking specifically about the whole LGBTQ thing has backfired greatly. And it's because this whole thing, pride is astroturfed. It's literally astroturfed. You just showed us how. I mean, you have a massive corporation putting out propaganda for a children's TV show, showing, a bunch of hands in a rainbow, this and that. It's very clear that this is backfiring. And by the way, the trans movement set the gay rights.
Andrew was about to say, I think, that the trans movement set back the gay rights movement leaps and bounds. I couldn't agree more, because I feel like if you're gay or lesbian, and now they even try to bring race into it, if you're any minority, they want to bring you under this oppression tent. And now groups that may or may not agree with the trans agenda are suddenly associated with it. I have to believe there are rational gay people out there that are like, this isn't my belief. Don't rope me into this. But because their case is so weak, they have to lump other groups into it to make the tent appear bigger. But this is a very small, mentally ill group of people on the extreme fringes of the Democrat Party, but they're so scared to lose voters that they embrace the fringes of their party. We denounce white supremacy. Neo-Nazis, that's the fringe of our party. They embrace them. And now they're in a situation where they know what they're saying is effing ridiculous. Anyone with a brain does, but they have to keep doubling down on it, depending on it. And then they have to lash out and call everyone else bigots. It's a Democrat story as old as time. Anyway, let's wrap it up.
Rights movement back 20 years or more. You can't convince us, Parker, even if you're attracted to men who you call women, that the rest of us need to call them women or men. Like they either are or they aren't.
Is this not changing the topic?
You have been trying to convince people forever that there's no way to distinguish these things. It's like, look, the average normal person, they can tell that these guys who go out and go, hey, how you doing? My name is Chuck, with long hair are clearly not women, Parker. Like, we know this. And so what happens is you guys gaslight everybody and try to pretend that, hey, you just can't really know. It's too vague. It's, we can't really get to the meat and potatoes here. It's like, we do know, Parker, and you have not been able to successfully, with your TikTok brain, convince people that men can be women and women can be men. You haven't done that. And that's one of the reasons that you see Pride falling behind, is because of all of this gaslighting. People are rejecting it.
This kid sucks so bad. But like I said, I'm glad he makes a fool of himself and sheds more light on how stupid the left's arguments are. But we want to hear from you. What do you guys think about this conversation between this Parker Jagoff and Andrew Wilson? Let us know in the comments. Anyway, as always, really appreciate you watching, and we will see you in the next one.